Entitled SIL wants custody of my baby. Trigger warning, miscarriage, some sort of psychosis. Mood spoiler, hopeful but still somewhat sad. September 5, 2023. Background, me, 36F, SIL, 40F. I've been married to her brother for over 10 years and there's always been some jealousy and resentment from her. She's always felt like I had the life she wanted, not necessarily with her brother, but the marriage, family, job stability, etc. I have 3 kids, 10F, 8M, 3 months female. She got married last year and they decided to start trying for a baby, but she was unfortunately told that she can't have children naturally. She was understandably devastated and the family comforted her as best as we could. We recently had a family dinner and in the middle of it she says, "Angel 698, I think it's really unfair that you got to have 3 kids and I can't have any. Your baby is my last chance to raise a child, so I think you should give her to me during the week so I can create a motherly bond with her and you can have her on weekends." Before I could respond, the entire table erupted with everyone talking at once, so I took my older kids upstairs. When I got back to the dining room, her husband was asking what the hell is wrong with her and why would she even think to ask that. She was trying to justify herself when I asked them to leave. I also said that she's no longer welcomed at my house or around my children until she gets help. She started screaming that I don't deserve my life or my children and that I stole her baby from her. Her husband and Emil kept apologizing and dragged her out of the house still crying and screaming. Now my kids want to know why their aunt wants to take the baby. Edit. I've been reading the comments but it's too many to reply to, so here are a few points. 1. We have a security system and cameras already installed and no one has keys to our house. 2. I will not be able to get a restraining order as this one incident isn't enough to justify it. 3. My husband and I spoke to the older kids about it the same night and will be having another talk with them to reinforce that SIL is not a safe person anymore. 4. Our country does not have the right to bear arms and I also have no interest in getting a gun. 5. I'll be informing the school and daycare of the issue and giving them her photo. For those questioning the validity of the post, I completely understand. If I had heard about this last week, I wouldn't believe it either, but it's unfortunately the situation I'm currently dealing with. Relevant comments. More on security. We already have a security system and cameras because there's been a trend of house break-ins in our area lately. No one has the code or keys to our house, not even the in-laws, so we're safe on that front. Unfortunately, a restraining order won't happen because it will take a lot more than this to justify requesting one. We've never relied on her for childcare or pickups, so she's essentially a stranger to the daycare and school. Diagnosed as infertile after a year is pretty early. Is she sure she is? She was having issues not related to trying to conceive, and the fertility issues were discovered in the course of trying to sort out those other issues. Her tubes are blocked, and although IVF may be an option, they're not in a position to do that now or in the near future. Was her husband aware she was going to try that? He wasn't. He actually called the next day to apologize again. He said he knew she was having a hard time accepting the infertility and they were looking into counseling for it. Asterisk, your quote from her is not how real people talk. Asterisk. It's not verbatim, there were pauses in between and responses. So after she said the first sentence, I looked at her like WTF, then looked at my husband and he asked her what she's talking about. She ignored him and continued speaking directly to me. I didn't want to detail every aspect of the conversation. TLDR sister-in-law found out she can't have kids and demanded that I give her my baby every week. So my sister-in-law has been admitted to a psychiatric facility. In the comments of my previous post, I mentioned that her husband was seeking out counseling for them to deal with the infertility prior to this incident. After the incident, he sought out a psychiatrist rather than a counselor and they had their first session last week. I didn't get the specifics of what happened, but basically she made some statements that the psychiatrist felt indicated she was a danger to others, my baby and me, and she was placed under an involuntary hold. My BIL has been nothing but apologetic through this entire ordeal and he kept her away from us since the incident. Emil was staying with them to keep an eye on SIL. She tried to leave the house in the middle of the night to see her baby. Also, BIL found her researching how to induce lactation, and she said it was to make sure she can feed the baby properly when I come to my senses and give her up. From what BIL has said, seeing me breastfeed is apparently what triggered the entire episode. It was the first time SIL was around the baby for any length of time, and she was holding her when she got fussy because she was hungry. Naturally, I took her to feed her, and this made SIL feel inadequate because it triggered the thought that she would never be able to do that, which led to the events of the last post. I'm grateful for all the advice that was offered on my last post, as some of it was really helpful. We won't be moving as it's not feasible for us at the moment, but we have taken extra steps with security both at home and at the kids' school/daycare. This whole thing is taking a toll on the family, but MEL, FIL and BIL are taking care of SIL, and my husband and I are focused on ensuring the safety of our immediate family and minimizing the effect on the kids as much as we can. Relevant comments asterisk. Asterisk therapy for the kids asterisk. My kids were able to have 2 sessions with the guidance counselor at school. One with both of them and then individual sessions, and my husband and I are looking into a therapist to have a few family sessions as well. I don't want my kids to be fearful and unable to enjoy their childhood because of this. Update. I've had a few messages asking how things are going, so I decided to update. I have not seen SIL since the incident happened, and I also blocked her on my socials. My in-laws have been amazing through this entire situation and are not sharing any information about our family with her. Unfortunately, she still remains fixated on my baby. She tried to find out where the daycare is and even threatened to hurt herself if my in-laws didn't tell her. This led to another stint in the psych ward. She wrote me a letter begging me to be fair and let her see her baby. I didn't actually receive the letter though. My email read it and just gave us the gist of its contents. Hale's husband is working with a psychiatrist to see how best she can be helped, but he has said he doesn't know how long he can deal with this, but he's giving it 6 months. It's a very sad situation for her, and I had hoped she would be able to deal with whatever is happening. At this point, we're completely no contact with her. We explained to our older kids that their aunt isn't well, so she won't be around anymore. We still see MEL and FIL regularly, so I'm grateful we didn't have to cut them off. We spent the holidays with my family, and it was all very nice and uneventful. We're still on alert in case she escalates, but the hospital where she's warded isn't near us, and they don't live near us either. So we've accepted this is our new reality, and we're operating accordingly. Relevant comments asterisk. Asterisk that 6 months remark asterisk. Her husband said he's giving it 6 months for her to start showing at least some signs of improvement, not the doctor. Asterisk, so husband would just leave/abandon her then? Have her committed? Asterisk. Not everyone is equipped to help someone through a mental health crisis. I suggested a therapist to him because he's been very focused on her mental health but hasn't considered his own. Hopefully, the therapist will help him deal with the situation. I don't think he's hard and fast with that timeline, because he said it at a point of frustration. The counseling they were seeking out was specifically to deal with the infertility. I don't think he will divorce her after 6 months, but it's just been a lot for him to deal with. They've only been married a little over a year. Asterisk move asterisk. Moving isn't an option for us. But SIL's husband has mentioned possibly migrating with her if SIL becomes well enough. It's something they've talked about before. New update. So lots of people have been messaging and commenting asking for an update. Firstly, my family and I are safe. SIL was eventually released from hospital to continue outpatient treatment with a psychiatrist, and she's on some meds. My husband met up with her husband, MIL and FIL, to get a feel of her mental state. She was very apologetic and seems to understand the issue with her previous behavior. She asked to see the kids and I, but that was of course a no, and my husband let her know that she will have no access to us for the foreseeable future. Since she was discharged, MIL has been awesome about letting us know when she would be at their house so we wouldn't run into her accidentally. MIL also told my husband a few days ago that SIL has been saying it's hard not being able to see the kids. She told him for information's sake and not to guilt him into changing our boundaries. SIL and her husband are looking into migrating to give her some distance in hopes that it will help her healing. I'm hoping for the best for their future, but it will be a future without my kids and I in it. Relevant comments asterisk. Being apologetic while also still wanting to see the kids. Those two statements don't mix. Does she think she can have a normal relationship with them now? Before all this, she was a very good aunt to my older kids. So in conversation, she asked my husband when she would be able to meet with me to apologize in person and if she would be able to see the kids at all. He made it clear that he would be the only one she has access to. Would it be possible for her to ever foster or adopt a child? Adoption is very difficult in our country, and unfortunately, because of her now documented mental breakdown, it will be impossible for her to do either one based on the requirements. How is her husband, your BIL, handling this? He sought therapy on his own and has decided to stay for now. He's pushing for them to migrate as he thinks space is needed for her to have a chance at healing. OP's husband. My husband had been a rock star throughout all of this. He had one meeting with his family so he could see for himself where she was mentally, because so far everything we've gotten has been through ML. They're not hanging out and acting like everything is fine.